They said we're done, 6 feet below, but we rise up, let the fire show. Set the pizzle, Gigi, people in line. We're back again, crossing every sign. Never say never, we're here to stay. The world spins loud in our own way. Haters gonna hate, they can't relate. We're the storm they can't recreate. They called it quits, said the mic was cold, but our words got sharper, brave and bold. From ashes we rise, let the story unfold. This is the saga that we'll never get old. Never say never, we're here to stay. The world spins loud in our own way. Haters gonna hate, they can't relate. We're the storm they can't recreate. Live and let die, that's what they said. But we're running on dreams, not the dread. Every echo, every shout, it's all our own. In a live wire world, we've claimed the throne. Never say never, we're here to stay. The world spins loud in our own way. Haters gonna hate, they can't relate. We're the storm they can't recreate.
Well, welcome into a much waited, much needed, clear as mud. So,
Yeah. What up? What up? What
oh,
up? What up?
yeah, welcome in, chat. I hope you all are having a great day today. So I'm your host, Peepaw, and joining me today, in the top right corner, the one and only Jessica Pizzle.
Hola.
And next, in the bottom left hand corner, the one and only Texas girl, Gigi.
Hello.
And of course, the one, everybody's favorite little gremlin in the top left, Seth. Use your voice, Seth. You can speak. Come on.
Blah, 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 blah.
There we go. There we go.
Blah, 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 blah.
So, ladies, we'll start with you, Pizzle. What have you been up to since the last time we did a stream together?
Nothing. I mean, I've been popping up on like the locale rewind and the locale universe and chatting over there, but really nothing. Like I've realized that there's a lot of like drama that's been going on that I missed, I guess. And I just saw like tweets about it, and I was like, shit, like drama between I guess Tommy C and shit.
Okay.
But really nothing else other than that. Just been working, and like now I've just been glued into these LA protests. That's really, it's really. I was just like waiting, and I don't think that it will come in my neighborhood. I don't think they'll try that, but you know, it usually doesn't. It usually doesn't ever come into my neck of the woods because it's the ghetto and everyone's afraid of getting shot, which is fair because they probably would if they came down here. But I'm still watching it just to see because it's, and you know, it's in LA, and I don't exactly know where in LA this one is, but they're at like the VA, and it's not the VA next to me. I don't think it's another VA, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. I just been watching these. I watched it all last night, and it got crazy. Like it got crazy quick, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, and then there was like this lady who I guess she said she was an elected official, but she looked like, you know, that meme where it's like congratulations, you've been promoted to our #1 employee or whatever. That meme.
Mhm.
That's who that lady looked like. So I'm wondering if that was her. So, but yeah, that's
I've never seen that meme in my life.
really. Oh my
Yeah, I don't
God,
know what
hold
you're talking
on.
about either.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you know what? I'll find it and I'll share it in the chat, and then you guys can see it while you guys talk about what you guys are doing.
You know, I was wondering how close those protests and stuff were to where you were at living, and so are they like a few miles away, 10, 15 miles away? I mean, how relatively? I mean,
Yeah, why don't you just dox yourself right now, Jessica?
yeah. Would you just
Can you
dox
just
yourself,
give us your
Pizzle? Make
exact
Give us your
yeah,
exact address.
and make
number.
life easier on us.
Yeah, yeah. Los Angeles, find
Los
me.
Angeles.
She lives on Skid Row, bro.
Okay. All right. So moving along. Gigi, what's up with you, girl?
Why do I have to go second? I want to go last.
Because
Because that's not a reason.
that's
No,
all you're
this is
getting today.
typical.
So what's going on?
Typical man behavior. Right now, I'm watching the LA riots because that seems like the fun thing that's happening this weekend. Obviously not as closely as I am in Texas.
Yeah.
When did we last do an episode? I think that's a better question about all of this.
Like a couple of months ago or something, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's been kind of an intense. Like part of the reason we haven't done is because we've all been so busy. So yeah, I'm in Texas now. I live in Texas now, which is bizarre. Yesterday I didn't feel like being around people, so I went to the Dr. Pepper Museum. Can I just
Okay.
say this might start a fight? This might be a controversial taste, but root beer floats are disgusting.
No, they're not.
They're the most.
So
I
what's
actually
They're the most
fuck with them.
disgusting beverage.
You know what? What's so funny is I used to think that they were so fucking good, so good. And I try now. I don't know if it's the type of root beer that they used, but I got one more recently. It gave me such a stomach ache. I was like, I used to. How did I drink? But then again, also, I haven't really drank soda in God like 10 years. So, like other than maybe Sprite, but like dark soda, I haven't drinking dark soda in like 10 years.
Okay,
so
well,
maybe
I
that's why.
exist on a diet of purely soda, and I'll tell you, they are fucking overrated.
You know what I
Yeah,
just
I have
noticed?
a tap of Mexican Coke straight to my veins at this point, and I would die without soda. But I don't drink Dr. Pepper.
I just noticed that my
Not enough.
Liam. And so he's born an American citizen, but he is so freaked out right now. I'm like, just don't hide them.
Yeah, like, dude,
You're
like fucking Holocaust style in the attic, you know?
Yeah, I was like, you got a choice: hide them for 4 years, or take the $1,000, have a little mini Mexican vacation, and then come back after.
I can't. Okay, I guess we're back. My OBS is. I don't know what's going on, man.
Are we back?
I didn't know we were back.
I think we're back. It looks like we're back. I'm assuming we're back. Okay.
You didn't even give us a warning. We could have been talking about anything.
Well, that's what always makes for the best, right? So, why is my screen not changing?
Wouldn't be clear as mud without this.
Okay.
Who the
alright.
fuck is Joe? So there's this lady that's
Yeah.
talking about Joe, and she keeps on talking about Joe. You're not a reporter. You're a Nazi, and why don't you go talk about sex workers or like you usually do, Joe? I'm wondering if like which one's Joe, because I don't think it's this
Joe
guy.
Biden.
No, they said Joe. Like there's a guy named Joe that's there, and he has a YouTube, I guess. But I don't think this is Joe. But anyways, the LA protests are gonna get crazy because there's crazy people showing up now. There's crazies showing up.
Okay.
Like before, it was nice and peaceful and calm, and they were just saying their stuff. But it's getting crazy now.
I saw that it was spreading like to other cities too. You know.
And yeah, isn't there's some in New York and stuff? Like this isn't the only one. But when it comes to
Yeah.
protests, LA's notoriously violent.
They don't do them like they do them in
Yeah,
LA.
no, they don't do them like they do it in LA. Goodness gracious.
All right, so I think we're talking about Gigi. You relocated to Texas, and you got your little Bucky puppet. So, like,
Oh, we got Bucky's puppet.
and we were fixing to discuss and argue about because you said a very Sanders thing.
Well,
That root beer
I
floats
said
were
a
not
very
very
good
good.
thing.
No, you said a Sanders thing.
The root beer floats are awful.
No, they're not. Root beer floats
They're
is
the
good.
worst beverage I think I've ever had. So,
Well, you're
first
just
of all,
wrong. You're
Dr.
just
Pepper
you're just
Museum.
okay. You went to the Dr. Pepper
recommend
Museum.
it.
Okay.
It's like $12 and it's 3 floors. I didn't know they had that much to say about Dr. Pepper. Apparently they do in fact have that much to say
Well,
about
he's a
Dr.
doctor,
Pepper.
bro.
You know why Dr. Pepper comes in a can, right?
Why?
His wife died.
What?
I don't want
I
to
don't
be
get it.
on this stream.
Alright,
Living up.
Anywho.
Lord.
So I went to this place because Waco, Texas is not that far from me. It seemed like a nice scenic drive. I also went to Italy, Texas. It is, yeah, a much smaller town than one might expect somehow. Couldn't find a single Italian dish to have there. Peepaw has an echo now. Peepaw, you're fucking up our stream right now. Helena.
Yeah, man.
I don't hear Nick.
What the hell?
So, anyways, when you go there, you can either get a custom Dr. Pepper made, like they have flavors of Dr. Pepper, like a berries and cream, and they make it for you, and they have a soda jerk make you your thing, or you can get a classic root beer float. And I'm
They
like,
have a
I've
what
never
now?
had a root beer float. A soda jerk, an ice cream shop.
Oh, okay.
There's also a soda lab where you could make your own soda, and I was like, so doesn't everybody who has a soda stream, like that's what they're doing? They're just making sodas at home.
Yeah.
Anywho, I was like, I will finally have a root beer float, because if there's a place to have one, you would think it would be at the Dr. Pepper root beer float ice cream shop. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever had. It looked really good, right? Classic root beer. Some Bluebell ice cream. Disgusting. Absolutely awful. I could not believe I was in a room full of people enjoying this. Is on my to-do list. But anyways, the only other thing apparently there is to do in Waco is to go to Magnolia Market. Do you guys know what Magnolia Market is? Does this sound familiar?
Mm.
You guys watch HGTV at all?
No.
You know who Chip and Joanna Gaines are?
They sound familiar.
All right, fine. I'll be the only middle-aged white woman here. So on HGTV, there's a show called Fixer Upper, and it's this couple, and the woman is like more reserved and whatever, and the guy is all wacky, and they have a show where they fix people's houses. They all look like that, like middle America McMansion look, where it's like white with the black edging, and she's known for shiplap. This is her big thing. Shiplap is a type of wood that they use to make like barn doors and stuff. And Magnolia Market is a store where you can have that very generic style like spread everywhere, but they've expanded it. So now there's like food trucks, and people go to this store to have like picnics and things. It's very Texas is weird, man. Like people talk about
I-
Florida being weird, and no, Texas is way weirder.
I just
Way
want to point
weirder.
out, I can think of at least one other thing that Waco, Texas is known for. Other than
Murderers?
those two things.
Rhyming with taco.
Murderers. Murder.
Rhyming with taco is one of them.
Waco, Taco. I guess not really.
Murderers. I think it's a murderer.
Yeah.
It sounds like a murderer.
I think it's about a government overreach. I think that's the first two words that come to mind, but
Oh. Oh,
Yeah.
God, you know what? Foreigners are so much smarter with their history than us
It's
Americans.
true.
Christ. Because they just know these things. And we're in America, and I don't know what she knows what she's talking about. I don't know what she's talking about because I'm American and we have a shitty
Well,
school system.
I also think that as an American who's not from Texas, I feel like the rest of us treat Texas like a particular way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, those Texans, they're down there being Texans. And yeah, there's a reason for that. Like, it's best to leave the crazies alone for the most part. Also, they don't deny it. Every time I meet a Texan, which weirdly is rare, everyone I meet is not from here. When I do finally meet a Texan from Texas, they agree with me. The Texans are fucking bizarre. They're like, yeah, no, it's pretty strange down here. And I was like, yeah, for reals, like seriously. So yeah, yeah, that's what I did yesterday. Texas is strange.
Oh, by the way,
used-
there's a potentially significant storm complex expected to move across much of northern Texas Sunday evening into Sunday night.
I've heard. So I will not be going to church tonight. Church is one of the two.
because you were
weekly goth
planning on
nights.
doing that, I reckon.
I go to church at least once a month on Sundays.
Yeah.
If you had listened to me before cutting me off, you would have heard that the church is a goth night. It is every Sunday.
Oh,
That doesn't
That's
sound
cool.
very church-like.
that's American
Well,
church.
if it makes you feel better, I promise there's lots of people on there.
What's up, weirdos? Did you know?
No way! I don't know that.
I think I'm dipping out again.
Why not? I forgot. So two things. I was laughing earlier because Scott, I have this on the TV in my room, and Scott said, "You know what this reminds me of?" And he said, "Illegals in my yard." Illegals in my yard. I didn't have my babe, but
What are you talking about?
it's
I don't know what you're talking about.
Scott works construction, and so he works with a lot of Mexicans and
Illegals in his
Hispanics.
yard.
And
I
they
gathered that much.
said they taught him that song, and it's like it's like, you know, instead of I don't know what the other song is, but whatever that song is. So that they did illegals in my yard. And he said that's what. But also, I forgot to tell you guys, I went and saw the sequoias. That's something I did, and it was
You did?
awesome. They were huge. They were massive, and I saw the General Sherman tree, which is the biggest tree by volume in the world. And I hugged. No, I
I
didn't.
thought
hug
that was
one.
the redwoods.
No, the redwood. So the redwood tree, the biggest, the tallest tree. That's the tallest tree. The General Sherman is a sequoia, and which can be confused with a redwood, but it's the largest tree by volume, so,
Oh,
and height. It's pretty big. They were tall, so.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
We found a little tiny river that was right next to the rapids.
Mhm.
So like there's the rapids, and then there was the rocks, and like some water came in and created like little pools that we went in, and it was really freezing cold. And I brought some rocks home. It was awesome.
I'm about to start to try to get into do this nature thing. So apparently it's one of the main reasons people live out here. I'm actually thinking of going to Arkansas. 'Cause there's apparently some really pretty caves, and I can annoy
Really?
people simultaneously. It'll be great. I'm looking forward
Arkansas
to it.
has cool caves.
Yeah, we got caves.
I got an ad telling me that I should visit Arkansas.
I'm gonna be real. I heard that I've heard they got cocaine, and I got really excited for a moment, and
Arkansas.
then it just fell. So
Mm.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that with how little there is to do in some of these states,
Hmm.
cocaine is probably what they have. So the person I'm seeing is it from Oklahoma. Do you know how much there is to do in Oklahoma? There's
Nothing.
one thing.
tornadoes.
There is
Yeah.
a prairie museum.
Man. Yeah, no, Scott's.
It's a prairie, and you might be able to possibly see like some bison artifacts.
Oh wow.
That's it. That's all there is to do. You live in
In the whole
Oklahoma
state
and
of
want other
Oklahoma.
things to do.
Yeah,
Tough nuggets.
yeah. That's what Scott said. He
Make
was-
meth, I guess.
His ex before me, he went to Oklahoma. They were gonna live there, but he just didn't like it. He left, and then eventually they broke up. But yeah, he said there was nothing to do in Oklahoma. It's
I went to
dead.
visit him, and I'm driving on the highway. That is the one cool thing. It's that you can actually go like 85, which means people go 100. That's pretty great. But have you guys seen like the murder documentaries where the body was dumped along the side of the road, and so there's all this B-roll of just like farm fields, and it's like the fence for miles, and that's the B-roll. That's what I drove through. I was driving going, am I looking for a dead body? Like, if my car breaks down, they murder me. And you want a landmark? There isn't one. It's just fence, tree, sky, and that's it for miles. For miles. And I know some
Yeah.
people will be like, oh my God, that sounds beautiful and lovely. And I'm like, that sounds terrifying. What do you mean? Just miles of nothingness? I haven't
I
gotten to
think
see
it
a
sounds good.
coyote yet, though.
That's
Well,
crazy.
you're a foreigner. Oh, there's that. Wrong turn is a thing.
All right.
Mm,
So,
Wrong turn.
Seth, what have you been up to?
Working. You know, the usual.
The usual.
Fun.
I don't got nothing going on. I don't travel. I don't see friends. I work and I sleep. So
That
Him-
I got really drunk on Thursday night, and I hit my head, and it still kind of hurts here. And then when I went to work on Friday, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I had to leave early because I was literally like, I could not keep my eyes open, and it lasted all day on Friday and all day on Saturday. I was like, I have a concussion. I diagnosed myself with a concussion.
I
Okay,
think
Hubs.
that's yeah.
To be
good
fair,
shout.
I moved to Texas because I got laid off in
Oh
September.
yeah. Oh damn.
And I was like, I'm gonna leave the state for a little while. Technically, I'm a dual resident, but here for now. And that was but I haven't been traveling because apparently all the planes are falling out of the sky left and right.
right.
Not
right?
really, not
Mm-mm.
much in the mood to be in a tiny tin can in the sky at the moment.
No,
Um,
nope. I
So-
feel
While
ya.
simultaneously exploring a number of American refugee programs which have already started opening up. Are you guys aware that other countries are already offering Americans aid if they would like to flee
No, I
and
didn't.
guess
get
Which
countries?
political asylum? Oh yes, they're open.
What-
You should come
Um,
here, Gigi.
I went. Where are you
can.
again? You're in Poland.
Yeah. She's
I
don't
love that for
remember.
me, Jessica, I love that for me.
Sweden.
Denmark. She's from Denmark.
I think
Yeah, I remember.
Ireland was one of the first
She's
ones to open up
Danish.
that program.
Oh,
Also,
you know
side
what?
note, Beaver Buddies, way better in my opinion than Beaver Nuggets, and I will fight people on them.
What are beaver buddies?
Beaver Buddies are animal crackers with sprinkles in them.
Oh, I like that kind of animal cracker. Cool.
They're very good.
So,
Denmark.
you know, I recently went on a little bit of a trip. To
What?
Northwest.
Who?
I went on a little trip north to Northwest Arkansas.
Oh! Yeah, you did. I saw that. That was so funny. I would have done it, people. No, seriously, I would have walked up.
Don't
there, I
even
would've
try to
came
run,
up,
people.
I would have chit chatted with Boogie for a little bit, and then I would have been like, boom, and I would have been gone. I would have been gone. And I wouldn't have come back. Fuck you, Keemstar. You pay him. You reimburse. Yeah, I'm not coming back. it's mine now. Because I know
No, you
how
could
much
have
he
traded it
made.
in. Be like, I'll bring him back his box if you give me a host role.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
But I wouldn't want to be a
He might
host.
appreciate the tenacity.
I don't want anything. No.
You should have. I don't
Since
know.
this isn't a toxic stream, can we derail into talking about lolcow? Because there's a new host, and I
Are
do
you
not
talking
like
about
her.
Popstar?
I'm talking about Popstar. I do not like her, but part of the reason is because she's 19 and supposedly going to become a lawyer, and sure, her first move is to become a host of the LCU, and it's like, my love. That's an interesting
Well, she's 19.
career
She's
decision
young,
you've made
she's
there.
young. So, I've seen
Yeah,
19-year-olds
I
do.
understand young and dumb, but
Yeah.
like she doesn't have a professor.
I mean, it's a good way to raise the
parent, an
money to give
auntie
for
who's like,
school. You know.
I just found
okay,
out.
truthfully, I think that her being on OnlyFans would be less damaging
True. Then being on lookout. That's fair.
than being on a lookout.
That's
100%.
Yeah, that's fair. I also just
I mean, I
found
do the
out.
same shit, and I'm on this show. How fucked am I? You know?
Yeah, right. I just found out that I don't have to claim asylum if I want to go to Germany because technically I'm a German citizen already. Because my
Me
dad was
too.
born in
I'm
Germany.
as a Puerto Rican,
Yeah.
I can get Spanish citizenship.
Well, Germany. If
It's
your
like a-
parent, my dad was born in Germany, so I'm a German citizen already.
I would not
Yeah.
go to Germany, but you know.
Yeah.
This is
Oh
one of the
God.
things I learned through all of the political stuff that's happening is that as a Puerto Rican, like one of the deals with Spain was you can always go back to Spain if you want to.
Nice.
Cool.
That's dope.
So you just go and you claim it's literally called like the right of history rule or something. But yeah, it's just because Puerto Rico was once part of was once a Spanish colony, you can get Spanish citizenship.
Nice.
So
That's
there are
dope.
ways. I would prefer Canada, but Squatchin won't leave her husband for me, so
Is
it's
that
just I'm working on it though.
Mm.
I think I'm wearing her down.
is that core or is that's not core? That's
No,
not.
that's zero.
That's not
core.
Hey,
that's not
No.
that.
Okay, I was like, that's not hate Jessica core, is it?
No.
I was like, why would you mod that man?
No.
What did you do
zero.
to that core that he hates you now? Just
Irritate him. Same thing I did
Well,
to everybody who hates me. Irritate
Steph
them.
does that though, and she's still beloved.
Yeah. Well, I also when I went up to the meetup to go see like Billy and Bunny and all of them, Billy was Scott was there, and so Billy was like, "Are you always this bubbly and annoying?" And Scott's like, "Yes, yeah, yes, she is." But that was
And
that was
here's
a good
why
time.
I wouldn't have the same judgment of you if you did become a host. You're in a completely different place in your career. You're in a completely different place in your life. You're unlikely to change personality wise too much over the next like 5 years. This girl's literally 19.
Yeah.
She's gonna be a different person by this time next year.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh my God.
And
yes.
people are going to constantly shove it in her face because that's what they do to you online, right? They just go, "Oh, remember a year ago when you said this really stupid thing you no longer believe and have said 1,000 times you no longer believe? But now we're going to like," but part of the
Right.
reason she annoys me is concern for her because on top of that, and Xylee has said this maybe more than anyone, is like she's in that like annoying stage where you think you know everything. And like, so everyone keeps saying, "Oh, she just needs it knocked out of her." I was a
No.
hot mess at 19. Everyone's a hot mess at 19. That's why you
That's
don't
why-
put yourself on the internet
Yeah,
in front of like thousands of people.
That's why I thank God every day the internet wasn't really what it is now when I was on the internet as a dumb teen because I like it was a MySpace and whatnot, and everything that I was on being a dumb teen is dead. Like at Zanga, dead, you can't get into it. MySpace, dead, can't get into it. Like everything I was a dumb teen on is gone. It's gone.
other
I wasn't
night-
even a dumb I wasn't even a dumb teen on Facebook because I waited till the very last minute to go from MySpace to Facebook because I hated Facebook at the time. So
There's
Yeah.
probably dumb shit I did somewhere online. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. But the other night, I was watching some girls at the train station. They were like twerking and taking video and da 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 da. And I was like, can they look to be? The thing is, I wasn't sure what their age was. They look somewhere like 17 because school's out and whatever. And it was like a Tuesday night. So that was part of why I think they were younger than whatever. So they're doing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh man, if when I was that age and would just like didn't care about a camera being out, didn't care what I was doing, was like, who's gonna see that? There would be so much shit online that I would be so unhappy about, and I could do absolutely nothing about it. So I don't deny this person's right to be a dumb. I'm not even denying her right to be a dumb on the internet. I am saying if you're gonna be a dumb on the internet, you're gonna have a tough time being a lawyer and being taken seriously
Yeah.
after that.
Especially in today's world. God.
Yeah.
God.
And if she were a little bit older and she had a little bit more experience under her belt, you can be like, yeah, I'm a hot mess on the internet, but look at my resume. So you can see that when it comes to my job, XYZ. She doesn't have any of that.
Yeah, the shit she
does
does
she-
could
and
get her
it's-
kicked out of school on Locale Live, maybe. Like,
It can get
Fine.
you kicked out of school, and a lot of companies, like I don't know if my current company, but my old company, they had a clause that if you posted something online, whether or not they agree with it didn't matter. It just, if they didn't want it online, you can just be let go for
Yeah.
that.
yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it was. Like you could
Yeah.
have been very aggressively, fighting anti-Semitism. The way that you say it, if it brings attention to the company, you're out. It doesn't matter what the statement was.
Yeah.
So it's real. It's a
Maybe.
choice, and part of me is like, is it ethical for Keemstar to let her do that? And it's like she's an adult. She's an adult.
Yeah.
Well, nothing that happens on that show is ethical, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
No.
I
That's why I
think most
love
of it.
it.
Do you
That's-
really? I mean, they do a bunch of shit that I agree is not ethical, but most of it is kind of like whatever. Like I don't know what Milkers is gonna do, but I can't do the dollar trains. Like I'm not paying an elderly woman $1 to dance for me.
No, Roxy.
There's something
in
about
her-
that is.
I will pay to have Roxy in the Pinocchio costume with the nose every time she goes on. That I died. And I love Locale Live when Keem bullies, like, pranks Boogie. Like that one where Keem pretended like he was frozen and Boogie kept on going in and out. I fucking died. It was so funny. Some of the stuff on there is hilarious. And then some of the stuff just pisses me off. And what pisses me off more is I'm banned from the Locale Live Reddit. Oh, I don't get to be pissed off on Reddit.
Why are you banned from the Reddit, Jessica? What did you do to do
Because
that?
during the Boogie Cancer stuff, and I said I don't remember what I said something about during the Boogie Cancer stuff, and I think the last straw was when Tommy left. I posted the thing. I reposted the video that Keem took down back onto the Locale Live and said something about like it's not Keemstar paying for Tommy to go there. It's Tommy paying for it if it's going to come out of the show. Because that money is Tommy's money too. So if it's coming out of the show, it's Tommy paying for. I said something like that and I got banned from the Reddit. But I'm also
Alpha Russ
blocked by
says he doesn't
Keemstars.
comprehend you with bangs, but I feel like most of your hairdos have had bangs. Am I crazy?
No, most of them had. I mean,
Like
On,
your signature one, the green one, the teal
yeah.
one. Does
yeah,
that
it
have
has-
bangs?
Yeah, it has bangs. And then I have bangs. It's just my hair's curly right now because I haven't brushed it. So I put the wig on because it gets crazy when it's like it's bad. It's bad.
All right.
It's bad.
Since we're talking about Lawcal,
Yeah.
this is one of those shows that I don't know. I'm not like overly. It is what it is. It's in my opinion, I think it's exploitive in nature.
Wait, pause. Are you saying that it's real then?
Do I think it's real? I think it's heavily produced. How about that?
Jessica, do you think it's real? Do you
Locale
watch
Live?
it as a real show?
As a real show, yeah, not as a
But, like,
reality
as
show.
but okay, but a lot of things have happened, including some things that I think we can all agree are just like not okay, right? And like
Mhm.
other things. So some so, there's always this line. So when you look at the show, are you guys saying what you're saying, going, these are real people? Or are you treating them like
Oh,
characters on a
Well, they're
show?
oh,
saying it to be inflammatory. I don't think they
Yeah.
actually believe it, but that doesn't make it any less real.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the fact that they're
Exactly. So do
willing to
you treat
do
it as
that,
real?
like he's actively, forcing these people to do that, like by swaying money in front of them. I think that's unethical.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what do I
It's
know?
like if
Keemstar is
it's like, okay, I'll give you a couple of scenarios. One of them is not necessarily huge, and then I think another one I think is just we'll talk anyway. So one of the recent events was, I think it was on Aussie. They had this guy come up that is autistic, and they told him there was this girl that was in the community that was like
Oh.
really liked him or whatever, and so she gassed him up, saying how she, whatever, played into the bid or whatever. They kept hitting him up to become a pay pig, which I think is like $100 a month membership to the channel. And so, he's like, well, they're like, well, if you become a pay pig, you'll be right there by her and this, that, whatever else. So he eventually gives them the money to become a pay pig. And then after the show ended, whatever, they let him in on the thing that the girl, it was just a gag. It was just a bit. She really wasn't into whatever else, which really upset him because he, from my understanding, was under the impression that it was all a real deal. And so, of course, Keem gets upset, whatever. One thing I'll give Keem a little bit of credit for is he took ownership about this e-begging thing, right? Because he has sit there and he kept telling all these different channels, whoever's in last place, you're up for being on the chopping block, either both
Yeah.
host, one of the hosts, whatever. Bottom line is if you didn't get your numbers up, right, you're basically facing a possible termination. So this is where the dangling of the money, the carrot, in front of these guys or whatever. And when he found out that they had, I'll say for the lack of a better word, took advantage of this person with some mental challenges, he got really upset. And I'm like, and I do believe they did make restitution to the guy. They did, the host, whatever, gave him $100 back or whatever. But to me, it's not so much the $100. That's one avenue of it. The other avenue is that
They gave him $95 back. It was really petty.
Okay. Well, the other thing that was really, I thought was kind of garbage thing to do was the fact that they took this girl and used her to manipulate him. And I thought that was really shitty. But so the argument comes down to is, if you get into that environment, if you get into that quote universe, that they do things like this. They exploit people, right? And some of these people, they go along willingly. It's not a whatever. Maybe they're just dumb, right? And okay, fine, whatever. But if you've got actual documented issues, like this guy was autistic, and they exploit that, I kind of really have a problem with that whole thing, right? I mean, am I out of pocket on that to think that was
I
really
don't know.
kind of shitty?
So the thing of so I kind of disagree because but it's mainly because if I'm gonna hold the position of if I'm gonna hold the position of here's this heavily autistic guy, think of Eric, right?
Okay.
I'm not gonna hold the position that Eric can do whatever he wants and he can, people can make Eric do things and they paid him to do animation. He does an animation, but then they shit on him the whole time.
Mhm.
If I'm not gonna give any leeway for Eric or really anybody who's severely autistic, like Bo Blacks, think of Bo Blacks. He's just as autistic as this other dude,
Mhm.
and Eric, like all of them. Like, if I'm not gonna give any leeway to that guy and be like, oh, we should tiptoe around them and be extra nice and really just make sure that we're mindful of their autism. I'm not gonna do it for that guy. I mean, like, he went on, it was online for one,
Mhm.
and he thought that, like, all they said was, oh, you could be up here with her next to her as a pay pig, and he pay pigged. And like, if he regretted it, he regretted it. But there's plenty of times where I go ham on the super chats, and then I look at my bank account and I'm like, shit, I regret that. But I'm not gonna cry about it or ask for a refund, and I'm not gonna get a refund. It's just, I don't know. I just think that it was,
I mean, what they did though was more like the romance scam, they
Yeah.
do to fucking old people and
Mhm.
stuff. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like if we can, like, call that morally reprehensible, then we can also say whatever they did on Lolcow was morally wrong,
I mean,
you
yeah,
know?
like the old people scams. Yeah, I get that. But also those people are getting like thousands of dollars, like giving thousands and
I mean,
thousands.
I know, but I'm
Yeah,
just saying, like,
yeah.
if you boil it down to the core thing, right? It's
Mhm.
this guy who thought that something was going on and it wasn't, and he wouldn't have, sent money if he wasn't, you know,
Mm,
if they
I
hadn't
mean,
pulled the wool over his eyes.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
gosh.
I
And
mean,
I
they
think that's
definitely
wrong.
pulled a scam, but I don't know. I don't entirely know that him being autistic like kind of necessarily mattered that much. I think a neurotypical person, if a girl is telling you she likes you and you're going on a dating show and the whole premise is that it's real, like this whole concept of like, oh, we took advantage of him because he's autistic, and it's like, what is it only because he's autistic? Because I don't think that was really why he got
I
duped. I
mean,
think he got
yeah, you're
duped by
right.
the
Like,
part
the
where,
fact that he has autism doesn't matter. Like, no
yeah,
matter what, they just scammed a random lonely guy or
Yeah.
whatever.
No, I mean, but that's what
yeah,
I'm saying in regards to this universe, like the locale universe. If he wasn't autistic, no one would care. And that's the problem I have with it.
Yeah,
Is if
and
like
but
no
but
one
that's
would have
more so
given a
like
shit.
saying the whole thing is fucked up. That's like another point for it being,
Yeah.
ethically wrong
Yeah.
as a thing that exists on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my
Okay.
thing
But
with the
to each their
autism
own.
aspect.
Make your
Yeah.
bag.
Okay. And so another situation that just popped up. This one. So back a couple of days ago, I guess on was it? I don't. Was it on again? Aussie. Or was it on test? I'm not.
Again on all maybe
Maybe
it
or
was test.
test. Maybe. Anyway, this guy Twiggy
Oh,
shows up
Twiggy.
and he starts telling another story yet a la Fat Camp era
about what?
about the hotel. Are you
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So the TLDR is he was riding with Wings and Kelly down to Fat Camp. They traveled. They stopped at a hotel. They each go to their respective rooms. The next morning, they're meeting, I guess, in the lobby or what have you. He wasn't for sure if Wings was around at this particular time, but Kelly says, "Hey, was your bathtub really slick?" He says, "No, why?" She goes, "Well," she goes, "I fell and now I've got like a really big bruise on her. I don't know if it's her back or her butt or exactly, but somewhere on the back side of her, somewhere back, bottom, that type of whatever. She had a big, large bruise where she'd fell and hit herself, is what she said. And so now we're what, 3 months post Fat Camp or whatever it is, time frame that's whatever. And now he's telling this
Yeah,
story
something
yet
like
again
that.
on Wings, right? Now,
Mhm.
and he's saying, well, he was kind of, he found it kind of weird or strange or whatever. So what are y'all's thoughts on that? Do you, about him coming up now with this gap of time that has passed? What are your guys' thoughts about him coming up and telling this story?
So I
I don't
think
really know what
that,
the point was.
yeah, so I don't know what the point was. And it seems like but also like we kind of like Kelly kind of disputed it and said that it was her knee. But also I just think that he's getting his new because he's been in and out
Mhm.
of the locale universe. So I think that this is like his way of trying to get back in totally to be like host and give a reason. It seems too convenient for him
Yeah.
to come out with this.
Well, I
Okay.
don't know.
I
I don't
think
know enough to make assumption.
Yeah.
Well,
Twiggy being back supports the theory that what Keemstar is really building is just a network of people. Like what the main storyline of Lolcow are these people. That's why regardless of what any of the bigger characters do, and even the smaller characters are starting to get there, right? Like in the same way that like if you remember what drama was like in high school, it was because so and so is now dating the ex of so and so and all of the intricacies and all of the lore. That's what keeps everybody like stuck to it. So of course he's gonna bring Twiggy back. There's lore with Twiggy. There's like old wounds to rehash with Twiggy. And that's why he's like hesitant to let any of them go, regardless of what they say or do. Becky has said some heinous things, and every time she opened her mouth, made it worse. But like, what are you gonna have the locale universe without Becky? How? Same thing with Tina. And I feel like their show hasn't had a storyline at all for at least a month, which is why it's tanking. But he still can't let them go because you'd lose a whole arm of the lore. Like the only reason that Voldemort's exist, which by the way, he's already talked about bringing Savage back, right? Who was banned for going IRL, but they've already
Allegedly.
discussed her coming back. They want Wings to come back too. So
Yeah.
like there is no ethical line where he's willing to say like the only person I think that maybe we'll never see again is Grace Thorpe.
Yeah,
And it's because
definitely won't see
apparently
her.
there is a line for everybody, and you know
Yeah, no, like
that
because
is it for most people.
Grace Thorpe like literally went IRL. Like the Savage thing was, I don't know. I disagree with Xylee where Savage was like, my pirates couldn't find anything on you, and Xylee was like, well, everything I have is online. Yeah, but what she could have just as easily meant that her pirates couldn't find anything to cancel you with, as opposed to your personal information. And Savage might have had a past of going IRL allegedly, but so has Tina. Just as many alleged IRL situations as Savage has, Tina has. They both have stories of each other going IRL against each other. Now Savage did do like go in front of somebody's house with a blowhorn or something like that. But I think that when it comes to Savage, it's all alleged. But if you're gonna kick someone off for something, I feel like if you're gonna use that as a reason, then you should use it for a reason for everybody else. And I think the problem is Keem doesn't want Becky on Milkers and Queens. He wants Becky on Queens because Tina can't hold a show on her own. Tina's never been on her own. She's always been on the coattails of somebody else, whether it's AGP or whoever. She's always been on the coattails. Somebody else has always been with her. She can't
Yeah.
hold a show on her own.
she's a great She's a great supporting character, but she's not like a main character, right?
Yeah, she's not.
So.
But Becky is a main character. But
Oh,
Becky
God, is
can't
she
be a
ever.
main character on two
No.
different shows. Yeah.
This might stir up shit, and this is my growth in recognizing this now, but I'm gonna say it anyway. This was one of the big criticisms of why Mitch did not do well, because we didn't talk about that. We weren't around for that,
Oh
right?
yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
our own little Mitch went
Yeah.
up there and was a host, and by most people's account, completely bombed the whole thing. And then they did a whole thing about why that was. And listen, it all sounds perfectly reasonable. It really does. I don't know how I could perform on lack of sleep. I'd just be like a major bitch. Simultaneously, I'm also like, man, if my whole thing was to be an entertainer and someone were giving me that opportunity, I feel like I'd be a little hungrier for it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It feels
yeah.
that way. Don't hate me. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that's how it
So
felt
I
to
just think,
me.
yeah. It just
Well,
it seemed
Um,
like Mitch really wanted it at first, and then he saw what it was like behind the scenes and was like, "Oh fuck this." I think that's what the problem. I think a lot of what we see is one thing, but it's like horrible behind the scenes because like
yeah, it's probably
I
horrible
think
behind the scenes.
like you hear about Keem like really getting on these people about oh and like threatening these shows that they're gonna end and he's gonna fire them and stuff like that and like Keem's got a vision of how he wants, and there was a time where I was like, "No, that sounds stupid." Like
Yeah.
Keem, that's stupid, but it works. So I
Yep.
can't argue against what he's saying anymore
Yeah.
because it literally works. Yeah, it's just it seems like a lot of behind the scenes is horrible. So
well,
I
I,
think
I
You
think
think, Riv, like
all.
at the meatloaf situation, I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Yeah.
I think to me, from my understanding and takeaway with the whole Mitch situation was, he wanted to be again. Mitch is a great co-host or a side character. He's not a main character,
Yeah.
and I think he and Rastoff would have worked well together. I think he would have played well off of Rastoff. I think of the tryouts, from what I saw, they had a really good chemistry. And then all of a sudden, Rastoff gets called up to the majors, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
leaves Mitch there. And the time shifting, because that's another thing that is plagues that community is okay. Well, this show is going to be on now, and then now we're going to move you to this time zone. Then we're going to move you to this time zone, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that was just completely so what's the word I'm looking for, discombobulating to
Yeah.
Mitch, that he's like, I just can't, I just can't do this. And in fairness, you know, Mitch is a great entertainer and I like Mitch. But I don't know if Mitch necessarily, and this is coming from a guy who doesn't have a lot of drive anymore either. I don't know if he has the drive to want to do, 6-7 shows a week for a couple hours a day. I don't know if that, if he
Yeah.
has that type of thing in his gas. I can tell you myself, I don't have that kind of gas in my tank anymore either.
No.
But
I mean, but
we have seen
Okay,
that
I-
he's willing to degrade himself. Okay?
Yes.
I feel like he should have gotten it just based on that virtue.
no, I mean, but also for 10,000 a month, I'd have that gas. But I don't think that Locale Aussie makes that money. I think that's a Locale
Yeah.
Live, a Locale Queens money.
Sure.
But-
Well, according to let me see here, because there was they've got a website.
mean-
You can go there and look at this.
Yeah.
They're
The leaderboard.
the leaderboards. Yeah. The what is it? Queens has dropped way, way down on the
Yeah,
charts, right?
Queens is lower than Nerds, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
Nerds is
Yep.
like in
Yeah.
second place. Now Queens is like in third. So,
Mhm.
the other day, King made a statement. He said that across all the channels, everything combined, last month. So in the month of January, February, March, April, May. So in April, the month of April, that the Locale brand itself, that universe generated $200,000 in revenue. That's super chats, that's memberships, that's everything, right? 200. Can you imagine that kind of money?
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
But that's part of my issue with and again, I've learned from therapy also that when you see potential in people, it's actually you projecting what you would do in their shoes. So I
Sure.
will say that maybe this is my own thinking, right? I'm not a person who's like, I really want to be an entertainer, but I would have seen Rastov leaving as, oh man, now I can do whatever the hell I want, and I'm guaranteed an audience of a couple hundred people who are gonna watch me right away. And I
Yeah.
fully understand that that's a double-edged sword. But as you pointed out, he's already humiliated himself. The reason
Sure.
that would be scary to me is because I still have some sense of dignity on the internet in the best way possible. Mitch does not, right?
Yeah.
Mitch has done enough things where he's past that point. So he could have gone up there and done, like, he could have done the Shockmouth radio, right, that he regularly does.
Yeah.
And he's pretty funny on that. Like, mind you, He doesn't get my humor apparently, but he's done many funny things. I do get that being tired probably was a factor in all that, but I do think that this is a little bit of what happens to people when they're a little bit older and also when they're a little bit like happier in life. Like you're correct, the time I think was a big factor because I did think it was shitty that when Rastov had to go back, what did they do? Aussie was now back at midnight, which
Yeah.
probably would have worked better for Mitch, right?
Yeah.
And when Mitch was on it, he had to deal with it at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I think
Well, one thing I will say this is if you're going to pursue having anything to do with the hopes of becoming like a co-host or whatever in that universe, I don't believe you could be somebody who is gainfully employed.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like people like on Reddit and in the Discord and something. Every
Yeah.
time I like show up, there's always like at least 5 people that are like, "Wyatt, you should be a host or whatever."
Yeah.
And mainly like there was a time where I think who was it? Tech Protect was on with Keemstar and
Yeah.
I called in and you know, he talked about how I know OBS, but I'm gainfully employed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna risk my job for, you know, I don't think I belong. Like I wouldn't be like Zeta Ray and thinking I should be on Milkers or
Yeah.
Queens or Rewind or anything like that. I wouldn't think that, but that's the thing. Like the other shows, like they're getting like maybe 1,000, 1,500 super chats, and then so that what translates to maybe like $500
Yeah.
a month. Like that's nothing, and I'm not risking.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
No.
gonna be like Roxy and risk anything for that.
Yeah.
But I was looking
And
at the
also, we've seen
leaderboard,
them
yeah.
fire people like left and right,
Yes.
like
left and right.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not an actual. It's a massive risk, especially since like there's the people that have their actual channels, like Xylee still has her channel and stuff
Sure.
like that, and they can go back to. But for the people like the newbies that
Yeah.
like that don't have something to fall back on,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not. It's a
and
risk.
yeah,
it's-
so
and-
Beans and Popstar are
So
Yeah.
it's not even just that too, right? It's because of the interconnectings of the shows and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You also have to be abreast, or you have to somewhat keep caught up with what's going on over here or this, whatever, because you have to be able to talk about that, because sometimes one show will talk about a host of another channel or another channel, whatever. And so there's like this interdrama or whatever you want to call it, right? This crossover, these crossover things that occur, right? So like if you're a normal person and you're working a normal job and you're whatever your time zone you're in, so you're gone 8+ hours a day working, well, you can't necessarily sit and watch all this other crap all the time, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's really, if it's a person who was quasi like part-time revenue from YouTube or social media in some way, this would be a good avenue for them to come into it. Or if you're a young person or something, maybe to where, this is a great opportunity and you're just leaving something like basically some sort of, dead end job at a fast food joint or something like that.
Yeah.
This could be a great opportunity too. But if you're a middle-aged or like in 30 something, not necessarily middle-aged, but 30 something or whatever, and you've got a decent job, you can't just walk away from that, because you got, you'll have benefits and, some medical, maybe some retirement, things like that. You can't just walk away from that crap, right? So, another thing too is, I don't know how do I say this? You have to have the ability to not take yourself seriously any at all. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. You have to be willing to whatever the level of that you're comfortable with, degrade yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because there's self, for the better word, self-flagellation that occurs. Anything from, what's her name? Like, what was it? Batgirl's that her name? Cut all of her hair off the other day. Becky cut all of her hair off. They've had people drink like whole bottles of hot sauce.
They're getting
That's just
tattoos.
getting tattoos. So there's just a whole wide. Boogie just knocked a hole in his damn wall. You know, and so I mean, there's what I'm saying is you have to be willing to be humiliated.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you pointed out every host, if you go from the top down,
Yeah.
they each have less to lose because if you look at live, and I'm not counting Rastov because like
Yeah.
in the most polite way possible, like who the fuck is Rastov? What was he before this? Who cares? Boogie and Keem, they were who they were before this. They'll be who they'll be after this. Like nothing changes for them, right? The
Yeah.
next show, and I'm going by the old one, right? Queens, Becky and Tina, like
Yeah.
what are they really leaving? What are they going back to? They had bad reputations before. They have bad reputations now. They're not really losing much. You go to Roxy. Roxy lost a job over it, so she's
Yeah.
like screwed out anyway. When you get to the smaller shows like Nerds, like Dolls, even Cafe, like these people are still like somewhat semi-normal, and they're I don't know if they realize how much they're really risking in terms of that. Maybe it doesn't affect like Steak and Ken because they're on disability, right? So they're not risking much. Even Xylee, like she was a housewife before, so she could go back to being a housewife after. Billy has had an online reputation before and after. Like the bigger shows aren't risking as much in their personal life as all of the smaller shows. They're taking like these big leaps into just I don't know. It's very intense, and it's all because of association. Like I don't know if I was trying to be a lawyer and someone at my job interview, because they are allowed to ask you, is like, you know, what is your relationship with Daniel Keem, and having to like explain that and somewhat be responsible for the entire history or something. Like one could argue, well, we're getting to a place where everyone has an online history, so does it matter? And I think that in a lot of like corporate environments and like financial environments, legal environments, all this kind of stuff, it definitely still matters.
One thing I think we can all agree without any hesitation whatsoever, if I didn't have a full-time job and I was still streaming and had the gumption to stream every morning like I was doing, they would have to pull Ken and get him the fuck out of there and put me in there to do their cafe every morning stream. Can we at least all agree that? Because I'm a hell of a lot more entertaining. And
Who the fuck is Ken, bro?
he's the dude that
He
does
changed
their
his name to Bigfoot.
or Bigfoot. Yeah, whatever. He's the one that does their cafe of a morning show.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what that shit is, bro.
Well,
I think
yeah,
I
but
think
you
I've
know
got
me.
a job.
You know me,
Yeah,
right?
but I think
So-
I've got a job, and I think I've got friends, and I think I've got family. So
Whoa,
I'm gonna
whoa,
just
whoa,
take
whoa,
a step back
whoa.
and
You have friends. That's still a little bit. I mean, that's
shout out to Nietzsche and Chen.
Nietzsche keeps you around like a pet dog. I don't really know if that constitutes a friend.
That's a friend, baby.
That's a friend. All right,
I've
so
got
enough.
her, and sometimes I've got Toxic.
Yeah, but you just
Depends on the
banned
day.
him. You just fucking blocked him on Discord.
Yeah, because he was being mean.
Okay, whatever.
I'm
All
just
right.
saying, I don't got enough
Yeah.
time to care about fucking Cafe. Okay, I watched Rewind. Rewind's good. I watched Lolcow
Yeah.
Live. I think I want to kill myself. Let's move on to the next topic.
I do enjoy Rewind live or the Log How Live, whatever. I have that on sometimes, like when I'm fixing supper. But I agree. Let's move on to some other topics. All right. So, Seth, you wanted to talk about Greta.
Can we strike that shit? We've been going for a fucking hour. Someone
don't-
take the reel.
It's true. We had other stuff, but like, and I don't really feel like talking about it anymore. Especially
Okay.
because my story
It's
is
boring?
really just
It's boring.
it's
It's
really
boring?
woman gets duped because man is shitty. You say it's boring. There are multiple stories about it on the internet, but whatever.
Ah,
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tale as old as that. Man sucks. A woman gets blamed for it. That's
So
that's
do you
that
guys?
story.
All right. So do you guys want to talk about some more drama? Possible
go on.
drama.
I'll
Okay.
drama.
Yeah, go on.
All right.
Let's
so,
have some good old drama.
Some more good old drama. So we'll talk a little drama tea here. We'll talk a little tea. So anyway, the other day, Uncle Tommy C did a live stream, and he was streaming. What? What was that?
I'm just thinking. I just know what you're getting into. It was fucking.
This was actually
don't.
you're
This is
mentioning
news to me.
my
Tell me about
one
it.
other friend. My one other friend is
You-
in there.
What the fuck am I?
Yeah, what about
Move
me?
on. Tell me.
Seth,
Go on.
This is
Tell
very
the story.
hurtful.
Whoa, no, let's talk about that. You said your only other friend. What the fuck am I?
I was being self-deprecating, but yes, I've got you as well.
I'm
and
gonna
I've got Gigi, and I've
self-defecate you
got
right out. How about that? We'll just defecate you right out.
You're gonna what? You're gonna what, mate?
I'm gonna defecate you right out and flush you down the toilet. Now, so other day, we'll drop all the stop all this. Okay. So the other day, Uncle Tommy C. Did it come up on the stream here? My OBS is not. I don't know if OBS is working or not. Yeah, okay, it's come up here. All right. So Uncle Tommy C. Did a live stream, and he put out a. Now he's put out. I caught the live stream live, and now he put out this little snippet. It's a 27-minute little clip of the actual live stream, and I did watch part of it or whatever. And I don't want to bore you guys too terribly much. We'll watch just a little snippet, kind of like the opening salvo, if you will, or opening, segment, a little bit of the thing, and then we'll talk about it real quick. Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: jealousy never gets you anywhere. If you were getting passed by Nick,
Am I not sharing it? Oh hell no!
No.
I'm sorry, because the power thing, I forgot. Here we go. I'm sorry.
Power thing.
Let me back up. I'm sorry. I forgot because I lost the power. That's what happened, chat, by the way. I lost power. We lost power in the whole house. Had to reboot the entire network, computer, the whole thing. Had to wait for the internet to get back up and going. But anyway, so anyway, I've got it shared back out. You guys should be
Trump's
able to see-
America for you.
Yeah. Oh, get out of here with that mess. All right, so here we go. Everybody
Apparently
in?
the video was quiet too, so turn it up.
Yeah, I'm turning it up here. Okay. Here we go.
but here's the thing: jealousy never gets you anywhere. If you were getting passed by Nick and other streamers, and they pass your relevance level, do what I do: congratulate them. Okay, let's start the show. How many of you remember the Keemstar principle?
I'm going to ask you guys, how many of you guys know when he says the Keemstar principle, how many of you guys know what he's talking about there?
No, I don't.
Okay, Seth, do
No
you know
idea.
you know what he's talking about?
It rings a bell, but
So
I couldn't explain it to you.
all right, so the Keemstar effect is this, okay?
Oh, the Keemstar effect, yeah.
Or
okay,
the
now I know.
principle, or whatever you want to call it, right? Is this.
Yeah.
Is you collaborate with somebody, preferably someone larger than you, then you get beef going between you and this other person. You do it in such as a way to make it looks like they're the ones that started it and caused it and what have you. And then you basically keep on with your narrative, right? You spin it, your narrative or whatever, to the point, in fact, where the other person finally just begs off because they're tired of it, whatever. And you hopefully draw some of their viewership over to your side because you basically just outlast them. And that was something that Tommy said back years ago, baited era type Keemstar and Tommy relationship that he shared with him. That's how you grow on YouTube, right? And that's what you do. So that's the Keemstar effect, or whatever you want to call it, right? So anyway, going back with the video.
Put them on the chat and somebody tell me what I'm talking about, because I've talked about this pretty much since I was on Babe. What is the Keemstar principle? What does Keemstar say? What have I mentioned? The
Creamstar.
one thing that
Creamstar,
Keem
yeah.
taught me.
I don't know who has a worse time with saying words, Tommy or me.
Toss up.
Yeah.
That was absolutely true. And the best thing that Keem, and most useful thing, beef then take fans. That's a simple way to put it. Anybody else? Collaborate, make the opponent look like they were the one that started it. Correct. I have seen this throughout my YouTube career. I've seen it done to friends, done to people I don't know, over and over again. I also experienced before I knew Keem with the people in Joe Cronin's community. People are so desperate for any kind of fame or attention, whether it's a small community or a big community, and it just turns people into monsters. Monsters that I basically pointed out on here for as long as I can remember. My favorite particular group to point out, mostly because I have a different way of looking at things on the internet. There is the way to look at it that everybody's content, and you really have no true friends because you haven't met them in real life. I don't like that because I think it's an excuse to be a phony. If I'm good with you, then it's just as good as I'm going to treat you the same way I would treat anybody in real life. That's my thing. Some people don't agree with that. Some people think that's too dangerous. But I would never farm anybody friends. You have to at least turn on me or something bad would happen before I did something like that. I'm not wrangling Vault, although it would be easy. Yes, just an example. Don't get upset. All right. Don't get upset. So this is something I've always lived by. Anybody who's been here for a long period of time, I want you to keep that in mind when I go further, because I smell something. I got a DM from some guy saying that they would be happy to moderate a debate with me and McMahon.
Okay. So do you guys know who McMahon is?
And
McMahon, McMad.
oh no.
Okay. I don't know who he really is either, other than I know he recently made a video where he was going after Nicholas Diorio. Okay. So he goes after Nicholas Diorio. He makes his points. It's basically, I hate Nicholas Diorio, and here's why I hate Nicholas Diorio, right? It's not the first one of those type of videos. I'm sure it will never be the last one.
Oh, I see it. It's F. Mysterio.
Yes. Okay. And so anyway, I listened to the video and I was like, okay, so it's the typical I hate Nicholas Diorio deal. Now, from my understanding, I think this McMahon dude is part of like the Queeman circle, right? And so Queeman, back some time ago, went after Tommy C. And what happened was Tommy called in to Chud Logic stream, and they were talking, and Queeman comes in and starts going after Tommy C because Queeman, I guess, doesn't like Tommy or has some beefs with Tommy, or real or not, doesn't matter, but he has issues that he wanted to address, take up with. And Tommy wasn't under the he didn't know this or whatever, and so I think, I don't want to put words in people's mouths or anything of that nature, but I think Tommy kind of felt like it was an ambush type thing. He says Chud shut it down pretty quickly, so forth. Queeman and I believe it was Aiden went on then to start this whole deal where they started this thing where they put out a edited video from a interview that Tommy did with Kinetic Kale.
Kinetic Kill.
Yeah. Kinetic Kale is a young lady who makes videos, and she is a Patreon supporter of Tommy. She reached out to Tommy and said, hey, I'll interview you. And Tommy says, yeah, sure. So he does an interview. Everything was fine. No problems, yada, yada, yada. And then Kinetic Kale went on later, subsequently do, I don't know if it was on her own stream or another stream, but they were talking to her about another situation. And she made a statement about somebody, I think, I don't know, hitting on her or something like that when she was like 14 years old or something like that. They took those things and they took the Tommy interview and stuff and whatever, and they spliced it all together to make it look like Tommy was the person that she was saying was hitting on her when she was like 14. Tommy then, makes a video, puts it out, kind of going after him or whatever else. Kinetic Kale, of course, felt horrible because she was the avenue, whatever. And anyway, that's kind of the backstory on this a little bit. But now Tommy is in this video, guys. It's on his channel. Go watch it at your own leisure, what have you. But the title of it is I Don't Trust Chud Logic Anymore. And so he goes on to say that he thinks that Chud is kind of lying in wait, and he believes that he's waiting for a really good video to be made on someone like, I guess, Nick or someone of that Nick, someone like that.
He thinks Chud's
And he thinks Chud's going to kind of go after Nick and use that as a springboard or whatever.
Hold on, I'm confused. Why does I know that he was on a call with Chud Logic, but
Mhm.
why does if it was other people who did this whole splicing of making it sound like he was talking to
that
Kinetic
would be
Kills?
It's because Chud. It's because so Chud and Queeman are openly friends.
Yes.
Queeman's basically. You guys remember that one dude, Hugin?
Yes.
Like he was the anti-commentary. You
Yes.
know all the anti-commentary people.
Yeah.
Basically, Queeman is like that, only popular.
Yeah.
So he's the popular anti-commentary guy, and Chud and Queeman are openly cool with each other, openly friends, openly friendly, and so basically Tommy's
Chud is
saying, like,
anti-commentary secretly, basically.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
because
you know,
he's cool with everything.
and it's an interesting thing that you brought up it's an interesting thing you brought up the quote anti-commentary. Do you really think there's an anti-commentary, Jessica, or do you think they're just commentary people that don't like the ones who are, I guess, been more successful within quote the commentary genre?
I think so. I don't think that's actually anti-commentary. I think what it is it's people that that don't like certain people that are like kind of quote unquote heads of the community. Like don't like
They've been successful.
Nick, or they don't. Yeah, like they. Well, I don't know about success. I don't know if they're mad about the success of the other commentary people. I think that they're mad that nobody's speaking out against these people when they're actually doing something wrong or when they're being hypocritical. Like nobody. I think that anti-commentary people are the people that see these people being hypocritical
Mhm.
or being overly, because one of the things that Chud got on Nick about was Nick getting mad about the Nazi sword, and Chud was like, "No, that's bullshit. You're just doing that because you've got you've got
Yeah.
Hassan derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
It's not even a Nazi sword." And Queeman was like, "It's not even a Nazi sword," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so the anti-commentary people are people that like those kind of people, like Queeman, that
Yeah.
speak out and say, "You're just doing that because of this," or you're just being okay with that because it's your friend, or you're just, that's what the anti-commentary people are. The people that speak up against Nick and them and are able to do it without getting kicked off, like without getting chased offline.
So,
kind of thing.
the thing that it kind of, how long have you really been, you're relatively new, right, to the whole commentary genre, right, though, Pizzle? I mean, when did you start really discovering and watching commentary creators?
Well, I mean, if you consider like Edwin, it was like, so it's only been like 5 years.
Yeah, but Edwin didn't really come in being commentary. He didn't join commentary till like what, 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and like Nick and them was like around the same time, like 21.
Yeah, they started blowing up around the
2021.
same time. Nick, Augie,
Yeah.
Turkey Tom, all those guys, right? They started blowing up. Seth, how long have you been?
2020, maybe 2021
Okay,
ish.
all right.
Around
And
the
and
same
Gigi,
time.
how long have you been around?
Probably same amount as Jessica.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm the old
I
head
think a lot of us started.
because
yeah.
I was like right at the tail end of 2015, definitely 2016, right?
Well, that early era was also the Leafy
That's correct, which is where
iDubbbz era.
Well, it was
That was not
Leafy.
about that, man.
It was Leafy, Nick Cash, Pyrocynical, Grade A Under A, even Leon Lush, just to name a few. Of course, you had what's his name?
The fuckers.
no fuckers. What was the Indian guy? That was in
Grade
Canada.
A under A.
No, the guy that was up in Canada that had the big blow up. Nick actually took his
Oh,
Twitter handle.
Matthew Santoro. Oh,
no,
Step High.
no. It's the, oh my God. What is his name?
He used to say, "Oh, my sweet goats," and
Yeah.
and
It's like a something. Oh my God.
I
What
can't-
You're
was
talking
his
about an end
name?
work?
yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Bunty King.
Oh.
Thank you,
Oh,
Purple.
Bunty
Yes,
King,
Bunty
yeah,
King.
and then
okay.
work.
Yes,
And end work is back, guys. He's back.
but he's not making. Is he making YouTube videos again?
He made a weird fucking video and he's on Twitter and stuff.
Okay. But anyway, so I was back in that era, and what I'll say is this: is when I look out across the battlefield that is quote commentary today, when these people that like to call themselves the anti-commentary, I look at them and I say, okay, they're just commentary, right? They're the ones who are scrapping and trying to hold these ones that have been more received, whatever. Some of them just the fact that they've been making content longer, right? In some situations, and it's kind of like that. So it's like to become the king, you have to take down the existing king, right? And so that's kind of the whole deal, right? So when I see these I'm like, no, you're not anti-commentary, you're commentary. And you're just taking on these guys that you have issues with, and that's fine.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, they're not trying to take down kings. They're just kings in their own right, fighting against other kings
Sure,
and
I mean,
being successful at it.
yeah,
Like,
I
It's-
think it's
have
more
you
like
seen?
a bunch of fish in a
Because
pond.
can you
Yeah.
imagine? Can you imagine anybody else saying the shit about Nick that Queeman says about Nick, and Nick's like, no, Queeman's cool. I'm cool with Queeman.
Well,
Like,
see,
that
here's-
doesn't happen. Like Queeman, it seems like Nick is afraid of Queeman. That's what I'm trying to say.
Really?
It
Because-
seems like a lot of people are.
Yeah. See, I don't. I'll be honest with you. The only people that I watch, I guess regularly anymore. That's quote commentary.
Mhm.
Is I watch Willie Mack. If Willie Mack puts out a video, I'm watching it. I just find him entertaining.
Oh, I don't watch Queeman because Queeman's like the majority of his streams are dead air. I cannot watch.
Yeah. I don't watch Queeman. I will watch. I will try to catch some of Tommy's streams if I'm around and I catch it. Now that he's taken these little clips out of his streams, I typically will watch them. I do enjoy a condensed little version of that. I like that. But I still, like I say, I will catch his streams live if I get a chance. And Leon, when Leon puts out a video, but here recently, Leon's videos have been more like body cam, reaction type stuff. So he's not quote necessarily I would call commentary videos anymore. And that's about it. There's not a whole lot of other people out there that's quote creating commentary videos that I watch.
Did you answer the question, by the way?
What question is that?
The original question? Well, the original question, what you were saying, we were watching this because Tommy said that Chud is lying in wait. Like, he's anti-commentary. He's waiting to make a
No,
video.
he's not anti.
You-
I don't think Chud. No, he didn't say he was anti-commentary.
He's
he-
anti-Nicholas Diorio.
I don't think
Anti-Nicholas
I don't
Diorio.
think he's even anti-Nicholas Diorio. Tommy speculates, if I understood it correctly, and it's very well possible I did not understand it correctly, and so it could just could be another one of my ramblings that occurs, is that he suspects that he's waiting for somebody to make a really good video against Nick that sticks a little, that actually has some sticking points. And then he's going to use that to say, what about you, Nicholas? What about you? Nicholas, you've got to address this.
Yeah, there was a point in Tommy's video because I kind of watched some of it.
Yeah.
Where he talks about like, Chud all of a sudden there's a video on Nick and Chud watches it on stream and be like, actually, it's a pretty good video on you, Nick, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
That's what he's
Wouldn't he
basically
do that
saying.
anyway?
Yeah, I think so. That's the thing that Tommy doesn't get is like,
Yeah.
Chud. I used to watch Chud a lot, but since the Karen Reed trial's been going on, I haven't
Yeah.
really been watching anything live
Yeah.
in the mornings, and Chud's live in the morning. So Chud is a kind of person that does that already. He would do that already. He would.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I agree.
But I don't think because Tommy doesn't watch Chud,
Yeah.
Tommy doesn't know that Chud does that already, and so Tommy thinks that Chud's gonna do what he already does.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
so-
think that's
yeah.
what Tommy was saying as a resident Tommy interpreter here, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think what Tommy's trying to say by bringing up as well the Keemstar effect is that he thinks that that he's like what do you call it? Like he's a little bit of like a jumper up, he jumps the rope, he's ready to throw any of the people he genuinely likes under the bus to advance himself. And you know what?
yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch Chud a lot, but I can kind of see it.
But
Like
the-
a
I
little bit,
feel like
maybe?
a lot of the political streamers are just kind of like that though, and I feel like in that space it's kind of understood that it's like
I
that.
th-
well,
It's
Chud's
almost
not
this is gonna
political
this
anymore
is
at
this is
all.
this is gonna sound bad, okay? But usually if someone is known for just being really fair by everyone, to me, I interpret that as you're a fence sitter and you don't really have any real stances, because if you did, you would piss another side off at some point. So that's why I'm distrustful of Chud, but whatever.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So, if Chud is doing what Chud normally does, which he streams 8 hours a day, and his streams are primarily watching other people's videos that they've created and reacting to, responding to. He will cover some political whatever type stuff that's going on. I know he's covered some stuff
Well,
that's
he
happened
doesn't-
there in like the
He
UK.
doesn't
Like,
really do political.
well, when I say political, I'm talking about news types things that are going on the news. Like I've seen him cover some stuff that's going over in UK, there in England where he lives or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
That type of stuff. Kind of like some of the stuff that I do. Like I'll take something that's in the that's in the news that is like I covered the Buffalo school thing that's going on with the Buffalo schools and the allegations that are being brought to light on their mishandling of things. Not drama. It's not anything to do with quote, this quote part of the internet or whatever. So it's just kind of an informative, giving your opinion. This is something that's going on. This is your thoughts. This is your opinion. This is whatever, right? That type of thing. Yeah, I know he talks about trans people a lot. There is, he kind of has a reputation.
He's a gawk chaser.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah.
He
So
chases that gawk.
anyway, Gok 3000, right? But so I used to watch Chud, but he cut his streams are so long that I kind of lose interest in it. Pretty,
And he fucking pirates them too, bro.
Well,
I was
I
trying
mean,
to find this
they-
clip about Nerd City, and I was like, I'm not fucking going through 8 hours and fucking. And then in the middle of it,
Yeah.
it went private.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not fucking paying just to A-log Nerd City.
Yeah.
I did end up doing that, but that's fucked of him. He should leave that shit up so I can fucking scan it.
But anyway, so if let's say Tommy's hypothesis is right, that he's doing this and he's trying whatever, right? I also have to go back to the famous thing that Tommy ranted about not a couple of 3 years ago about how incestuous the quote commentary community was getting, right? That was
Mhm,
another thing that
mhm.
Tommy was noted for.
Mhm.
So if Chud is perceived to be part of the quote commentary community now, which I think that's a safe label to to put him underneath that umbrella. If someone's doing a video on Nick, or someone does a video on me, or why they would do one on me, I don't know, but whatever. But just for hypothetical here discussions, and it's a good video, and they bring out some points that Nick is being hypocritical about, or any of the many hypocritical things that I'm guilty of, or whatever. That's just what commentary does, right?
Doesn't mean that
Yeah.
Tommy can't point it out and be
Oh,
like, yeah, I'm not
100%
gonna
he can
trust
point
that
it out.
guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
100% he can point it out. And he 100% can say, I don't trust the guy. And that's Tommy's not out of pocket, I don't think, for saying or doing that either.
Yeah, I mean, like, no one's saying that Tommy has
No.
to trust Chud, or that Chud's even trustworthy, because like
No.
we don't. Nobody really like. There's the people that Chud talks to on a regular basis, probably like Nick and them, that probably do trust Chud. But I wouldn't trust Chud. I don't think I wouldn't trust. Technically, I wouldn't even trust Tommy. Like I would not trust pretty much anyone except for like the people that I talk to in private with anything. So
Yeah.
but I think what the thing like I think the thing that people are trying to get on Tommy for is like, oh, Tommy was cool with Chud until
He's
he
throwing.
found out
he's
that
throwing
Chud
a-
was
he's
cool
throwing
with
a dart
Queeman.
at Chud for kind of no reason. I think that you're right that this is just what Chud does and would do. Like it wouldn't be, oh, see, Tommy was right. Well, yeah,
But for
that's
no
like predicting
reason.
the
I mean,
sun will rise tomorrow.
he's friends with Nick, and Chud is like fucking apparently lying in wait, or
I think
platforming a video
Tommy-
about.
Yes, but he could have had
Nick.
that conversation in private. The fact that he put it in a public video, right, means he's throwing a barb. And I think the criticism could be made, well, what is actually the point of the barb? Because if it was to protect your friend Nick, you can talk to Nick. I'm sure he has a way to reach Nick. He could talk to Nick. It doesn't have to be a
He's
public
probably
I have
video.
a
So if he's
conspiracy theory.
choosing
okay.
to do
So
it publicly, what's
here's
the
the
reason?
real deal. The thing is, he has a drama show
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
he's allowed to talk his opinions through, and that's
Yeah.
gonna get him
100%.
money.
100%.
Sure,
No,
that's
Yeah.
part
I
of it.
think
But
Fully.
like, is Tommy just supposed to not say his like? That's what he does. He says his
No,
opinion. It doesn't
he
mean it's
absolutely
like a.
is, but
It doesn't mean it's like a
But my-
throw just
but-
because he's like saying it.
I think
well,
so.
it is
so
a throw. How can you say it's not?
My thing is, I think that
I just
Tommy
don't think it
has
is.
been having a consistent issue with Queeman because Queeman decided to go after Tommy, and when Queeman's kind of like President Sunday and all them. Once you find a victim, they're autistic about it, autistically going after this person, and they will go after and poke and poke and poke and poke and poke. Because especially if the person reacts, Queeman's one of those people. Oh, Tommy didn't like that. Good, I'm gonna do it more because it gives me more content to do. And I think that Tommy's been having this issue with Queeman, and Queeman's been saying things about like Nick and Tommy and all of them, and Tommy probably sees that Nick isn't reacting the way he usually does, and he's thinking it has to do with Chud, and he's thinking that because Chud and Nick are friends, that's why Nick's not reacting or coming to defense of Tommy the way Nick used to, and thinking that Chud's just waiting on and he's gonna Tommy thinks that Chud's gonna do to Nick what Queeman's done to Nick, or what Tommy thinks that Chud's gonna snake Nick. That's basically it.
I
Yeah.
think it's one of I just think it's one of Tommy's famous character readings where he always ends up being right about someone. So I'm gonna hedge my bet on that too.
But
That
the
was,
thing, like, so
I don't disagree at all.
I
by the
wonder
way.
if
And I
it's
don't
gonna
think he should
be-
do it publicly. For me, if I'm looking at this, if I knew these people personally, and let's pretend this wasn't on the internet, but we were just at like a get together, and Tommy decided to say it publicly as opposed to saying it privately, and you can say, well, yeah, there's this added thing where he's making money and he's making content out of this also. So, and it's like, yeah, and because of that, I am also in my right to question his motives in doing so, and to question like, given that in this situation he has chosen to make this public to his benefit, even if it is also to help me, I have to question that, and I also have to consider, like, yes, we're all friends, but at the same time, everyone is also saying, yeah, but me first. Like, ultimately, everyone in this situation is mostly worried about themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, do I
Sure.
think Tommy shouldn't have talked about it publicly? I don't care one way or the other. It's a choice to handle it. But if there's criticism to be had, it's just a criticism that if somebody were to question your motives, there's reason to do so. That's all.
Well,
I don't doubt
It's
it.
not, you know.
But
my
it's just being a fan of Tommy and knowing him. I think it's just like a thing he said offhandedly about like both
but
for a little bit of drama, but also
Mhm.
like just as character because he does that all the time. He talks about
Yeah,
online
Yeah.
people. I
but
don't
I
think
mean,
specifically he was like, I'm gonna start shit with
yeah,
fucking Chud Logic right now. I think he was just like, I'm gonna just say shit off rip.
But he
I
knew that
think,
it would start shit with Chud Logic, right?
yeah, I mean, it
But he
will,
just like,
it
How would he
will,
know then?
yeah.
it will. Well, of course he knows that. Of course, like you don't call somebody out and call them a snake without thinking
Well, call
online
him out. It wasn't
without.
like he fucking like literally like made a video of it. He just offhandedly was like, I think this guy is you
I
know,
mean, his
a
title of
snake.
Seb,
the
you can't
video,
really say
the
people are
title
you
of the
crazy?
video is wait, the title of the video is "I don't trust Chud
Yeah,
Logic
but it's just a
anymore."
clip.
And but I mean, he posted it for a purpose, and it's
Separately.
to say, "Hey, by
He
the way,
posts pretty
Chud
much all of
Logic,
his
Chud
streams like
Logic
chopped up
isn't
now.
trust." I know, but it's like like of course he knows that it's gonna cause shit. Like you don't make
Yeah.
a video saying Tommy sees a snake and not expect Tommy C to react to that video, being like, "No, I'm not a snake." But I
Well,
think
I mean, bunch of
my
people have made videos like
conspiracy
that without
theories,
Tommy reacting. Like,
because
how do you
smaller
know that this
people,
specific?
because Tommy, like Tommy knows because Tommy has had issues with Queeman. He knows that Queeman's gonna talk about it. He knows that Queeman's cool with Chud, so Chud's gonna get word of it. Like it's obvious. He knows that Chud's gonna react to this, and he knows
If
that
Nick
Chud's
made a
fans
video
are
right
gonna
now that
want
was
to
like,
see.
I don't
I don't
agree with
trust.
Tommy C.
Yeah,
Right now, if Nick made that video and put it out publicly, how would Tommy take that? Wouldn't he take it as like a rejection or as, well,
like oh,
he
I
could
gotta
have come
react.
talk to me about it. We could have had a discussion, but he made a short and called it I don't trust Tom. I don't agree with Tommy C. That's you I don't know.
If
Can you
if
can't argue that's not a statement.
if Nick made a
It's a
video
statement.
saying
I'm
that,
just saying it's not a
yeah,
shot. I
it
think you'd
is.
have to be much more inflammatory for that to be a shot, in my
But,
opinion.
Well, okay, hang on,
if you
hang
listen
on.
to the video outside, if you listen to the video outside of someone who's friends with Tommy C, okay, because you're friends with Tommy C, I'm not friends with Tommy C. Like, if you listen to the video as someone who doesn't have a bias in this, because I don't like Queeman, I don't like Nick, I don't even like Tommy, I don't like anybody involved, right?
Yeah.
If you listen to someone who doesn't have
Same.
a bias, that video is basically, hey, Chud Logic, you're a snake. No one should trust you. Nick should not be your friend. That's what that video is. And of course, now Nick's not going to react to it because Nick's friends with Tommy C. But of course, Queeman's going to react to it. And of course, because he ties the reason why Chud shouldn't be trusted into the fact that Chud's cool with Queeman. And and Chud's gonna react to it because Tommy C just basically told everyone, yo, you shouldn't trust this guy. He's untrustworthy. Don't be his friend.
Yeah.
He's a snake. And he's a
That's
fence sitter. He's a fence sitter. He doesn't believe in anything that he's talking about. He literally just called out Chud Logic publicly. So of course, and even Nick, even Tommy would agree because they've said before, you cannot say something about another creator and not expect them to. You should expect them to
I'm not
react.
saying he's like I'm not saying that they're not in their right to say something about it. I'm
Mm.
not saying they're not
No,
going
I'm
to because I
saying,
expect they will. But I'm
yeah,
just
but I'm
saying
saying
like
Tommy expected it. Tommy knows that they're gonna
yeah.
react to it.
well, you're saying it's like it's a certainty. Like I don't
Yeah,
think it's a certainty.
this is
I
certain.
think if you're streaming and you're
Yeah.
mentioning someone, you can't expect them to react to all of the things that you say. Like there are plenty of people who call out like fucking Hassan or Asmongold or whatever, and
But those
they
are
never
like
mention it. Even
huge.
really like big channels who call them
Yeah.
out, it's and they never mention it.
No,
Like
they do. If a big chat, like Hassan and Asmongold, if anybody on their level calls them out, they talk about it. If you watch their streams, they talk about it immediately. But I mean,
Also,
this is
you never
a
know what the
situation-
fans are gonna
and
do.
let me just throw this in here real quick. I've seen Hassan react and respond to people who have little to zero following, right?
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah,
not.
but he
I don't.
also has a
It's
bunch of people
about-
with large followings where he doesn't
sure,
react.
sure. I think
What about
it-
like
I-
fucking Asmongold calling out Ludwig? Ludwig just doesn't
I
react.
th-
It's not like a certainty that
sure.
someone's going to react just because you
it-
talked
no,
about them.
you're right.
It's about what was said in that video, and it's about what
What-
was alluded to in that video. And the
What-
thing that was said in that video was basically Chud's a snake. He's a fence sitter. He'll snake you. He's not a trustworthy person.
Well,
and that's
Ti-
literally what word for
and-
word
and-
almost what he
and,
said.
and Tommy went on to say that's why nobody calls into Chud's streams anymore. So
Because he's a
I want
snake.
her. Listen, here's the deal. I like Tommy C, and I'm not. This to me, looking outside, I don't. If anything, I'm more leaning towards Tommy C than I am Chud. Okay, because I have a longer history with Tommy. Tommy 100% fired some shots. There's no denying that,
well,
right? There were shots
I mean,
that were
if I'm
fired.
wrong, I'm wrong. That's just never the like
Okay.
to me. The like it
But he's
doesn't
reacted-
matter.
he
That's not a
reacted-
real shot.
Okay, and the thing about it is Chud has already responded.
Oh my, yeah, no, he did. Oh my
Chud
God.
already responded, and that part's been clipped out, and then that's a whole, it's like an hour long segment that he put out of his stream or whatever. Now I haven't watched all of Chud's, but Chud basically was like, he's like, he didn't understand because he thought this was all like for fun, that laughs. This was for as far as what his stance or his whatever is. It's more like it's just was just goofs and gaffs. It wasn't that serious to him or whatever, right? And he goes, I'm just now learning that supposedly nobody wants to be on my streams now. That was a
Yeah, and
statement.
he just said, so I'm watching with the captions, and
Yeah,
he does say, and that apparently means I'm a snake.
yeah,
I knew
yeah.
that Chud or that Tommy calling Chud a snake
Yeah.
would make Chud react. I knew
Sure.
that's what
Yeah,
I just knew it.
I think with certain people, there are words or there's phrases that you can say that's buttons that will push them, and it's going to elicit a response from them, right?
Yeah.
Now here's my question. This is why I brought this one up. I'm glad we had this conversation, and I think it's been enjoyable, and I think it's been for the most part pretty peaceable, whatever. Did you guys think that this is going to be like a nothing burger? This is just like a little blip, or is this going to be the catalyst for because we have certain parts of the every year we have there's the Thanksgiving. Everybody knows that Thanksgiving there's going to be something happen within the
Thanksgiving's the
commentary.
big one.
It's right,
Yep.
but then we also have one during the summer.
The
There's
summer.
there's always a summer kind of a blow up. So is this one going to be a summer thing, or
I
is
think
yeah?
my prediction is that the second that Nick dips his toe into this,
Yeah.
if Nick dips his toe into this in any way, shape, or form, that's when it's gonna blow up. If Nick dips his toe into it, it will blow up. Because really what it comes down to is this all surrounds Nick. That's what that's what I think. I think because Nick's cool with both of these people, Chud and Tommy, but and then Queeman's kind of tangentially involved in this. That's why Tommy really has an issue. I think the basis of Tommy's real issue with Chud is Chud's relationship with Queeman, and Nick has a relationship with Chud. It's like this whole thing. And if Nick, who's really at the center of this, I think, dips his toe into this in any way, whether he fence sits, whether he both sides it or one sides it, I think if he reacts, that's when it will blow up. No matter what he says, if he does it, that's when it will become a big summer blowout. Oh, a big summer
I don't think
blowout.
Nick needs the money, realistically, because I think they play into it more or less depending on how much money they
Yeah.
think they can make. And I I can understand why Seth might not feel like it was a real shot, but at the same time, like I think for my own job, like I don't just send emails, right? Like at this point, if I'm going to send a 2 sentence email, I sit there for 10 to 15 minutes thinking about how the other person is going to interpret every little word that I said
That's
because that's how
autism.
it is. And that's
That's the autism, baby. Because I just sent those niggas out.
No, no, no.
okay.
Like
Well,
so.
I'm at
I
a
think
different
that
corporate level than you are, and at my level, if you want to survive, you cannot do that. And so, you know,
I
you want to
think
compare paycheck. I'm just kidding. No, but I
Do
I think
we?
about it a whole lot. It's it's a whole thing, the communication. So I don't think you can tell me that Tommy, given how long he's been on the internet, how well he knows these people, and how he has managed to maintain a show for as long as he has, there's no world in which he didn't know making that statement publicly and clipping it out wasn't going to more than
something.
likely elicit a response. And even if you argue, well, it didn't necessarily mean it was going to elicit a response. Yes, but he also had to consider because I'm sure there's plenty of statements that he chooses not to make just because of what could happen. He was fine with it blowing up. He was fine with Chud taking it poorly. He was fine with Nick also possibly taking it poorly. Like he looked at what was in front of him in terms of like what he was going to do for his show and what he was going to say and went, if this blows up, I'm good with it. That's a choice.
Okay,
That's
guys,
a specific and
Yeah,
intentional
I
choice.
respect that.
we have a question from chat. Uh, Tiana Layler wants to know: Do you guys think that Tommy is jealous of
Oh, 100%.
Of Chud's success?
100%.
Probably. I would imagine so.
Okay.
I don't know if jealous of him specifically. I could see that if I had been doing like the internet radio host thing for as long as he has, and I watched somebody who is like, I don't think Chud is that interesting. I think he has a funny accent, and occasionally he gets good clips and like more that kind of thing. But I don't think he's any more interesting than Tommy. I am not a commentary watcher like that. So I'm not the right audience for it anyway. But yeah, I would also be like, this man is mediocre, and somehow he's able to make amount of money that I just never been able to tap into. I could see being irritated by that over time, especially if like right now Tommy is like part-time internet person, right? And he's working in the real world.
I don't
no,
think-
I don't think so.
I
I don't
don't-
think he's got a job yet. No.
I don't think I'm gonna say this with confidence.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say
Wait, hold on. I
don't
have
think.
to respond. Reese, I'm not
Yeah.
saying your accent is funny. I am saying that like this is like what Americans think when they hear any other accent that isn't American. They're like, oh, that person has it doesn't matter what the accent is. It's literally any accent.
So I'm gonna
But
say this
cancel
with,
me in the comments.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this with confidence.
Yeah.
So it's not I don't think. Tommy isn't jealous of Chud. Tommy isn't jealous of Queeman. Tommy isn't jealous of anybody. Tommy is fighting a war on his own online against somebody who's really fucking with him on his own, and he's not getting the support that he used to get, and he's lashing out about it. I think that's literally it. Tommy's just like, bro, where are all my people that help me when this happens? Where is Nick? Why isn't Nick standing up for me and telling Queeman that that's not how it is? Why is Nick not saying anything while Queeman says all this shit about me? It's got to be because of Chud. And it's got to be because Chud and Nick are friends, so Nick doesn't want to say anything to upset Chud or me. So he's staying out of it, and I don't think he should stay out of it. I think the real crux of it is Tommy's fighting a battle on his own for the first time, and he's seeing what it's like to be attacked on all angles by a group of people and not have any, and just do it on your own and fight it on your own. He's seeing what it's like, and he doesn't like it.
I think like I say this as not a Tommy simp, okay?
Yeah.
It must be really
Lies.
annoying to see Yes, lies. No, it must be really annoying to see this guy make a video like insinuating that do you know you're a pedophile,
Yeah.
and then no one reacts. Because
No,
had that
yeah,
been in like fucking 2017, 18, everyone would have fucking reacted.
yeah. No, yeah. No, I mean, no, Tommy has
Tommy's done
I
that for
get
other
Tommy.
people,
Yeah,
you know?
I get Tommy's issue. I get it. But like let's not pretend like I don't think it has anything to do with jealousy or oh this person's Tommy's never really been if Tommy cared about success, he would have stayed on Locale Live no matter what. You know? I don't think Tommy cares about success or who's better or anything like that. This literally has to do with why is no one saying anything? It has to be because of Chud. Because normally, back in the day, Nick would have stood up and been like, whoa, 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 and made a video on the person making a
You
video
guys
about
really
Tommy.
think that it's because of Chud?
I think it's because
That
of
feels
Chud.
bizarre to me.
I think the reason, no, I'm saying that
no.
I think the reason why Nick isn't saying anything and stepping his toes and defending Tommy against like pedophile accusations is because of Chud. Because he's friends with Chud, but also I think low-key, I think Nick's afraid of Queeman. I think Nick is afraid of the Queeman effect. Like if Queeman goes like
Queeman has an effect. Listen, I don't want
He
you
has
to
an
voice annoys the living shit out of me. Like
No,
it's
no,
really
he's-
it's no,
no.
deeper than that for me.
But his fans, his
it's
fan base
wild.
and everything, like the way his fan base can go, like Chud and Queeman's fan base are crazy. Okay, they're nuts. Like you think, like they're kind of like on the level of, like you know how like Hassan and H3 fans go after each other. That's like Queeman. And like Queeman goes after you. Like there's like it's nuts. It's nuts, and Queeman will make video after video after video, and it's hard. Like as someone who thought that I needed to defend myself against every like misconstruction of my words or like people making accusations about me, it's difficult to do. Like, and this is the first time that I've ever seen someone like misconstrue something that Tommy said publicly and probably purposefully in a bad faith way, make actual accusations against him. This is the first time I've seen it. So, and where Tommy's not getting any support from his friends. I have like who's helped Tommy against Queeman? Like nobody that I know of. So this, I think that's the problem is, and I think that the like, of course, Chud's not gonna say anything because Chud's cool with Queeman and friends with Queeman. Nick's not gonna say anything because Nick's friends with Chud and friends with Tommy, and he doesn't want to rock the boat either way. And that's why I say it like that's why I say that this has to do with Nick. It's because like Nick's not stepping in when he used to. And I think that it's because Nick doesn't want to rock the boat or cause any error from the Queeman Chud community. And
Well,
like
you
that
might be
community
right, but
hates. Yeah.
I think it was just one of Tommy's famous character reads. Tied in.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, so when it comes to character reads, like
If it's famous, he
how
knows the
if
effect of it. Then
no, I mean,
that's
no,
what
I'm
we're
saying,
He knew.
no, I'm saying like I don't like agree with character reads because like Tommy can sit there and say this person's a bad person. I know it's a bad person, and then what would cause like Tommy has any opportunity to choose whatever he wants to say up. Like if Chud did make a video and it had to do with Nick and it wasn't even that inflammatory, Tommy can be like, yep, see, I told you, that's it. See, I was right all the time.
It would be up to
know?
other people to decide if it was a good read or not, depending on the situation.
Yeah. No, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, it's all up to interpretation. But like, how many times, like think about like she who shall not be named. Like, how many times did she claim that she was right about people, but using things that happened after the fact? Like, how often can you be like? What says
What are you talking
that
about?
you're so like basically? Let me tell you this: if I say, "Oh, Peepaw's shady," like I know Peepaw's shady, he's gonna backstab us. right?
Yep.
If I say that publicly and then Peepaw backstabs us, who's to say that it was because of what I said and not because that was going to happen? Like, who's to say that the person saying that was the reason why it happened?
Well, that's only when you're doing character reads about people that you have context with. Like he's done this, time and time again through the years with people that don't know
He has
Tommy.
no-
You know.
Mm, I don't. Yeah.
I think
I mean-
it's probably a
well,
decent character.
the-
read,
okay,
but
the only
I
reason
don't think
why
we can argue
I
that it
don't-
wasn't a shot. I
The
think he
reason
threw a
why I
shot at
don't
him.
think, yeah, the reason why I don't think Tommy's always right is because Tommy said that I was gonna, I was gonna Me Too somebody.
Oh, okay,
in the community.
Listen,
Okay,
no, I'm
like,
not saying Tommy
Like,
is right.
I'm just saying, I'm never gonna Me Too somebody in the community. Like Tommy, like there's things that Tommy said about me that were completely off base. There's things that Tommy
No,
said about so
for
many
sure.
people
Tommy
that were
isn't,
wrong.
dude. I'm not saying he's right about shit, bro. He's
Yeah.
fucking wrong about shit all the time. But
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
saying he
I think
has
if I were
this
Tommy, I
specific-
would take this
Oh,
podcast
you're
and I would
saying
flip
that
it out
it's-
as that's
It's just
on my
Tommy doing what
side and-
Tommy does, kind of thing. Not that he's trying to take.
he has he has these very few like people where before anyone else knew what was gonna go wrong, he was like, it's gonna go wrong. Okay? And I'll say he was very wrong a lot of the times. Okay, but then like sometimes he's just so spot on that it has to be real. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about how a
that's-
broken clock is right 2 times a day?
I mean, like,
You
but,
know?
I mean, that's the thing.
2
like,
times
there's,
a day, it's
there's,
twice a day, bitch.
There's.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, but you gotta say the saying right, bro.
Like, I mean,
No, I
I've
don't.
just
Yeah, you do.
constantly seen people say, "Oh, see, I was right about this," but then I'm like, 9 times out of 10, I mean, if you're right, if Tommy wasn't even tangentially related to the person he's making a character prediction on, then yeah, I would agree with that. But often I see it.
I don't think this is going to be the drama of the summer. I don't think it's good enough.
I
don't-
think
I really don't.
I think that's the thing. It's not to us, but Queeman and Chud are gonna make it bigger than it is. Okay.
Okay,
Like,
Unless
I
they
think
start
Queeman
being, like,
is.
really
Listen, I've got to
scooching like
pee real
ladies, I'm not
bad. My leg's
interested.
sleeping because I got to pee so bad. So can we get a GG pellet cleanser and get out of here?
Yeah, sure.
Yay.
A
He's
palate
gonna
I
have
went
cleanser
to
from
pee
pee.
already.
Gigi.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. I have anything here that Gigi has sent me.
I don't know. I
that's-
don't know what I've sent him recently.
That's the
hold on.
thing. We never know with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
Never
my head
know.
was hurt.
Some of her stuff. Some of her stuff is moderately okay, and then some of it is
I
just
imagine.
like it's okay. Here's one she sent me the other day. We'll do this one. Here we go.
I'm the owner.
Stop. Wrong freaking window. Why'd you open that up? Okay, here we go.
I'm the owner, and I think
Okay, let me. Okay, so, hang on here. Blow this up. Here we go. Switch the scenes, and we should be clear. You should be able to go now and do whatever it is you need to go do, Seth. So, is it
Well, I
switch?
thought we were ending. I was staying here, like letting my bladder explode.
Okay, all right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
we'll get this 6-car garage done by noon today.
I'm Josh, I'm the team lead, and I think we'll get this 6-car done by the end of the day.
I'm Dan. I'm the installer, and I think they need to shut the.
I'm the owner.
Oh my God, Gigi, send that to me. I gotta send that to Scott because they do that to Scott all the time. They'll send him on a job and it's got like it's like a repipe, so there's like 42 holes and they're like done in one day, and he's like, "What the fuck are you mean done in one day?" Or like it will be like they'll count like a big trench as one hole. He's like, "Bitch, bitch." Bitch, and you scheduled me for another job today too, bitch. What the fuck? That please send that to me. Oh
Okay.
my God, that's so funny. That's
Okay.
so true. That's
Good one, Gigi. You got a good one this
Wait,
time.
show the Australia one too, since Liana was here.
The Australian one.
One right after that one.
Okay, hang on here.
Oh hell no.
Here we
Oh
go.
hell no.
Oh, hell no, she said. All right, here we go. Oh, did it switch? I don't know. Here we go.
Oh my god, how cute!
Koalas are vicious. I've heard.
What the fuck? Christ. Is that a fucking bat?
That's a sloth? Is that a
The
bat
giant
or a
bat.
sloth?
Bat. That's a damn bat.
That's a fucking bat. Oh my god.
Jesus
Huh.
Christ.
Oh, it is. It says it right there. It's a giant bat. Oh my god. No. No, I don't
A
like
lot
it.
of spiders.
This the
of
first one
spiders.
is fucking fake, by the way. That's
I don't
not
care.
real.
I don't care. I've seen spiders that big that are real in
I've seen the
Australia.
bathroom, the toilet spiders that they have, and apparently
Yeah.
everyone just has a toilet spider, and no thank you.
Mm,
Like you require a toilet spider.
I'll
No.
be down now, even though the koalas all have like what herpes or whatever.
Chlamydia.
I chlamydia.
Jesus
I,
Christ.
I'm down for a koala in my house because that's cute, and I'm down. I don't.
You didn't
mind
know that,
snakes.
people? Yeah, all
No.
koalas have chlamydia. It's a
They all
thing.
have they all have the clap, but
They all have the clap.
like the only thing like I'm okay with snakes. Don't mind snakes. I don't mind the bats. I don't mind any of the kangaroos. None of that. The spiders though. Fuck that. Fuck the spiders. I don't.
And every time I see something
care.
about Australia, it really feels like it's an island that wants to kill its inhabitants.
Right? It does.
Oh.
It does. You couldn't pay me enough to $1 billion? No. No. Not even a.
I wanted to
even a
visit, and I'm
day.
just like, there's death around every corner. And it's just
There is. It's dead.
and the
How do
kangaroos aren't
people-
nice. Apparently,
do
they're not
Aus-
nice.
They're not. And how do you survive? How do people survive in Australia? I don't get it. Like, what?
And they
I don't.
apparently grab your dogs. I've seen the ones where the owners have to like punch the koala so that it lets go of the dog.
Oh
Not
my
cool.
god. Not cool.
Yeah.
Christ.
America has coyotes, pumas, and bears. Listen, let me tell you some creatures I've never seen in real life: coyotes, pumas, or bears.
I had a coyote
and I live
running
in,
up behind me.
near the Everglades. I've seen gators. They move relatively slow. I don't
I've
have
seen.
giant spiders.
I've seen.
Didn't
plenty
it
of
rain
coyotes.
spiders and frogs in Australia a couple times? It's happened. It's
Yeah.
in the Wikipedias.
All right. Well, I
all right.
guess
The right
that's
place, Mitch is
enough
around the
it.
corner.
Yeah. All right. So listen, guys, we thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our
If I'm
plan-
right and this blows up, we'll
Yeah.
be live again to talk about it.
Yeah, our plan as it stands right now, we're going to try to be a little bit more regular, not so willy-nilly. So we're going to try for every 2 weeks at minimum, having a show every 2 weeks. If something like Pizzle says, if
Unless one of us gets canceled, and
If-
then who knows?
we don't get canceled, canceling is not a real thing. So if something blows up, like Jessica says, if this thing between Tommy and Chud and if it grows some legs and starts walking, running, whatever, we'll be back and talk about it maybe a little bit more frequently than ever. Couple of weeks. Or
I want a
whatever.
gay scandal. I feel like we haven't had a good someone's gay, and now we all need to know about it one in a while. Like Bo Black,
Yeah.
pulled a good one on us, and I don't think we can expect maybe that level of surprise. But
I think Chud.
Yeah, I
I
want a
think
gay
I
scandal.
think the closest thing would be Chud getting exposed again for Jason the Gawk. That's what that's going to. Because you just can't
You guys
stay
are
away
still
from it.
fucking going? Oh, fuck off.
We're just talking about what scandal we want for the summer. I said I would like a gay scandal.
Okay, well, personally, I would like some sort of domestic violence thing going on.
We already had that. We had
No, you
wings.
already did that.
Yeah, but I mean, with me and my wife.
Well,
Yeah.
then I get after it. I don't know. And make sure you set up cameras to capture it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
there.
mean, just
I know
'cause she
you're gonna
said
have
that,
to. You're gonna have
I'm
to
gonna
beat Wings'
get off.
clips.
I'm gonna
Right.
get off right now and start beating random people. Just
There
because
you
she
go.
said it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stab random people.
Yeah,
Are you?
Everyone,
And
look
then
out
in-
for it.
And this is a real threat, by the way, YouTube. I am going to go
No,
stab
Seth, you're
random
not.
people.
Minecraft.
Seth, you're not.
Minecraft.
Just God.
Forget this for now.
See, this is why, chat, we cannot have nice things on Clear as Mud. Because if we keep the goblin up too long, the goblin starts
They're
going.
talking about cheese curds in the
She's
in the
just-
chat.
she
They
goes
derailed
crazy.
us with food.
So, on that note, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, if not sooner. Keep your powder dry. See you in the funny papers and all that other horse shit. Bye.
Y'all fucking motherfuckers gotta end this